Hi, this is Sue Greenwald with awakenstories.com. A few weeks ago, I had videotaped a video called My Favorite Spiritual Books. And of course, there's so many of them, I couldn't mention them all. But I was inspired to share some of my other favorites by Drunvalo Melchizedek. And I will share links below in the description. So this is called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1. And then we've got Volume 2. And these books are fascinating. So I'm going to open it and kind of show you what you'll get on the inside. Lots of text and explanations, stories, graphics, designs, details, all sorts of interesting things. So in these books, Drunvalo basically goes through the origin of, the earth, our civilization, kind of the history of our civilization. He talks about sacred geometry, how it affects buildings and sacred sites, mythology, giants, ancient Egypt. You pretty much name it, it's in here. And I've read these many times, and of course, I've just taken all my little notes out of them. But what I might recommend that if you get these books is to gloss over them the first time. There's so much in here. It's really something that it will take you a while to absorb. And then if you want to go back through and test his math, his geometry and all of that, he does give you kind of the proof in there. So I read these books a few times myself, just reading the story and understanding that. And then the next time I went through, I actually tried to understand the geometry and the math, which was a little bit tedious for me. I didn't really like it, but I felt like I needed to understand it more. So the story of these books is interesting. They came out, I think it was 1999, and I bought a copy immediately, but I was also given a copy of it by someone else. And coincidentally, I had just learned to meditate around that time. And we ended up doing Drunvalo's Merkaba meditation. So I did that for 2 years, really not getting a bigger picture of it until afterwards. So it's very powerful, very, very interesting. And I would highly recommend these books. The next book, which I happen to buy multiple copies of by accident, is called The Serpent of Light, Beyond 2012. And this was also by Drunvalo Melchizedek. This book talks about what he did in the, I think it was like the 1980s, and also what he was doing in the early 2000s. So he would be called to go to various sacred sites around the earth. And sometimes he would take a group with him and do ceremony. Sometimes he would take crystals and place the crystals in a sacred spot or a secret spot. Whatever he was guided to do, he basically did. And after I read this book, I realized that, I had been doing a similar thing on a mini scale. So whenever I took my retreats around the world or around the country, we would do our things, and I would never really understand why we were guided to do what we were doing, why the group would gather together, but there was always a larger picture than I understood. And in this book, he also talks about how the chakras of the earth are located and how they have shifted for the 2012 transition. So super easy to read, lots of interesting personal stories in here. We'll call them case studies, but a really great, easy, fun book by Drunvalo. Okay, couple more by Drunvalo. All of his books are awesome. And he, of course, has a YouTube channel, and he's just fabulous. He's not as popular as he used to be. So I just thought I'd bring these to your attention. Living in the Heart really shows you, here on the cover, you can see the toroidal field around the person. It kind of explains how the energy of your body works and how meditation helps and how you can kind of hasten your spiritual development. And he also has another book out called Journey into the Heart. Sorry. All fabulous, all easy to read. One of these comes with a DVD or a CD. Living in the Heart does. So that will help you to meditate if you like that one. So I thought you would really appreciate reading these books. And they're all by Drunvalo Melchizedek. So for spelling, I'll put that in the description. One last book I felt shared or called to share with you is by Tom Kenyon. And this is called the Arcturian Anthology. All right. So Tom Kenyon does kind of a meditative channeling musical meditative event. And I've been to his event several times in New York City. It's amazing. And you have to kind of understand it to see. It's a one-person show, and he makes all kinds of sounds that you can't even imagine a human making, but it is very, very uplifting and strong. He has an incredible spiritual connection. Well, when I read the Arcturian Anthology years ago, there is, of course, various chapters by various Arcturians, all fascinating. The energy of the book was amazing. And there is also a CD in the back for meditative purposes. But if you go to page 111, I hate to tell you who's on there, Yeshua ben Joseph. I remember opening to that page and getting a jolt of energy like I've never felt before. So a very powerful, very exciting and interesting book. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll put links to the books below. Happy reading.